Hello and welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition. All right, welcome to the FSF PopCast, kids and cadets, the show where nerds like us find friendships that we missed out on middle school.
Ow.
Accurate.
You know, the self-deprecating jokes are getting a little too close to home. I don't like it.
That means I'm doing my job.
Oh, goodness, you jerk. Anyway, before we get into tonight's show, we need to say thank you to our show sponsor, Level Up Sabers. Play the beautiful video, Tim. One of these times you're going to like randomly unmute me while I'm singing horribly. And that will be the last time my face is ever on the internet.
Well, fortunately for us all, not just you, StreamYard automatically mutes all microphones while a video is playing. Mm-hmm. So we can't talk over it unless it's a shared screen from outside. But if it's a video like that one that we have stored, then our mics are automatically muted, and I don't think I can unmute you. But
I hope that you can't, because that would be horribly embarrassing. But anyway, as you guys can see, the link for Level Up Sabers is in the comment section and the show notes. Go buy a saber. Make your childhood dreams come true.
Or at least ours, either way. So.
Or if you don't buy your own, if you do buy your own, then you can loan yours out for friends' weddings, which we did this weekend, and I'm eager to see pictures.
That sounds cool.
Just hint, please.
Right.
As soon as if I have permission to share them, I will.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys. Also want to ask you that if you haven't already, please take a moment to hit as the banner says at the bottom, please remember to like and subscribe. That subscription helps us out a whole bunch. So if you're watching on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe button. That's going to help us a whole lot. And if you want to help us in other ways, you can also do what the screen says there, and you can buy us a coffee by clicking that link.
Sorry.
You're buying us a coffee. It helps offset some of the costs that we have each and every month to put on this show and to have guests come on and live stream and all that other stuff. So if you want, that'd be a nice way to support our show as well. Now, if you've also noticed, Nick is not here today. And so to answer Jason Taylor's question, where is Stash? Stash needed the night off. He had some personal things he had to attend to. So he is not stashing on the Stash cast. Did I say Stash enough? I did. Okay. By that look, I'm going to say I did. All right. We have comments from John. John says he says hello, but he also says that he's never heard Kathleen sing horribly. Sing, yes. Horribly, no. I'm not your husband, so I will say I have. So, you know.
You have heard me sing horribly?
Yes. But you weren't actually trying to sing good. That's the difference. So you were goofing. So it's different.
When was that?
The last time you were at my house. So.
There may have been alcohol involved.
There was definitely some libations involved. So absolutely.
All right, but before we, continue down this path of random nonsense, let's bring in our guests for more random nonsense.
That's the only way to do it.
Well, yeah. First off, we have Jason Taylor from the actual 3 Geeks podcast. There's only 3 now.
There's only 3. Well, we still have Mike occasionally will pop on, and John will occasionally pop on. We are the sometimes nerdy, always dirty podcast. You guys can find us every Sunday. We said we were going audio only, but the last 2 weeks we've done video because I like doing video. I hate editing. Editing is awful, and scheduling during the week is awful. Like, it's all awful. So we might just be back to doing it live again.
Hey, we will watch that.
John Wass says, hello, Jason.
Hello, John Wass. It's nice.
Right,
You know what the best part about? I'm sorry, what's that?
It's just nice to be here on your program.
Oh, thank you. We're glad to have you here on the program. And you know what's nice about our show? I don't have to do the editing. Thank you, John. Thank you, and Nick. John and Nick. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
They're amazing.
Publicly, I'm telling you, you're awesome.
Yeah, that's our new slogan. Sometimes nerdy, always dirty.
I love it.
We also have another guest waiting in the green room. We have Robert Bernard of the SciFi Remnant podcast.
Hey, I'm here for the ropa vieja.
What?
I'm here for the ropa vieja.
There's dirty laundry? Usually.
Hello, everybody.
Air the dirty laundry at some point, probably.
Is that what that meant? Because I was just over here like smiling, nod. Not one of those words was beer or bathroom, so I didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
I learned a thing watching a cartoon, Tim.
Yeah. You'd think I would, but no. It just doesn't sink in sometimes.
Tim, I love your new podcasting background. It screams you.
Well, it's the gray. I wear gray shirts. I wear a gray shirt so I would blend into. No, yeah.
He does look
John would like to.
We have had a podcast guest on from a bathroom before.
We did, yes. She was traveling, and that was the only space that she could get into, where it was quiet. And so she went into the bathroom, and I think actually she was talking with us. She was in the bathtub, sitting in the bathtub, holding onto her microphone.
Good. I was going to ask.
Started sitting on the toilet seat with the laptop up on the counter, but there was too much echo.
So she moved over to the bathroom. Yeah, to the tub.
Yeah, we've had a guest from the bathroom too.
It happens.
It happens. Hey, you know what? It was a fine conversation. Could have been worse. Could have been. All right. So before we get into our topics for tonight, what I'd like to do is, Robert, we'll start with you. Let everybody know about your show, where they can find it, what you guys talk about, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're a Science Fiction Remnant. We have those conversations that you have about, your IPs, your science fiction IPs. We are not your typical review podcast. We just basically talk about the topics within the movies, TV shows, games, and anything sci-fi that we talk about. And you can find us everywhere. We're basically everywhere. So.
Yeah. So one of the things I do love about your show, one of the things I've appreciated about your show since I started listening to it, is the fact that I don't think you have to be an in-depth sci-fi nerd, so to speak, to appreciate your show. You guys do go into some deeper stuff, but I never feel like you're bludgeoning the average listener over the head for not knowing the deep lore or some of the knowledge that you guys bring to the table. I've always felt it was a very open and welcoming conversation. So I think that's a good note for your show, is that you do hit on some of the deep stuff, but you're not going to leave the listener behind. And I think that's a very important differentiation between you and a lot of other shows that do the deep dives. So.
Yeah, we like to think it is kind of like a type of conversation you have at the sofa with your best friend, and that's pretty much how we format the show.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and since I think Kathleen and I can both agree with that, having been on your show and knowing the type of conversations that you have and everything. So yeah, I would agree with all of that. All right, Jason, tell the fine folks where they can find the Three Geeks.
Everybody knows where they can find Three Geeks, but I want to talk about Matt Talk because, like Robert said, Matt Talk is one of those podcasts where you don't even have to be into Matlock to enjoy it. The first 30 minutes of the the first 20 minutes of the podcast, it's just John and I, like two friends sitting on a couch just talking, and it's fantastic. We're nominated for a Columbus Podcasting Award, and if you don't think that's a big deal, then you don't follow podcasts, because like 90% of us are from Columbus, Ohio, which I found throughout my course. Podcasters are like ants. We're everywhere. So definitely check out Matt Talk. We're nominated. I can't wait to go. We're going to an award ceremony downtown. John and I are going to get maybe tuxes, and we're trying to see if we can be presenters, because I'd really love to present.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So
I hope you guys win. That'd be really cool.
Find us everywhere you find podcasts. Sadly, it's more popular than Three Geeks.
All right, so tell them about Three Geeks now.
Three Geeks podcast. We talk about a lot of things. I forget that I'm on the internet sometimes when I'm doing that show. I feel like I'm hanging out because Max and I are childhood friends. We've been friends since second grade, and we kind of forget that we're on camera sometimes. So we talk the way we would talk if we were hanging out, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of humor. We talk geek stuff. Always talk geek stuff. So check us out.
Awesome.
All right, cool beans.
And there's 3 of us now, not 20.
There are. Yes, there are. All right. So, and then one last thing before we get into anything that is our show topic related, on September 16th and 17th, Nick, Kathleen, and I are joining the Three Geeks podcast at the Monroe Pop Festival in Monroe, Michigan. Woo-hoo! And it's if you just search in a Google search Monroe Pop Fest, you will find all the information that you need on how to buy tickets. It's actually a very affordable convention. They've got some really cool people coming in. They've got really cool vendors. Last year, I made really good friends with the Funko Pop vendor that was there. So much so that Kathleen got a discount after I spent a lot of money there. So yeah, I bought a very large collection. My wife was not surprised. Anyway,
you walked out of that booth with like 10 of them.
Yeah. It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission, Tim. Remember that. John Ross, remember that.
That was the premise I was going with, because I went with this amount of money that I was going to spend, and I may have spent this amount of money that was not planning on being spent. But she was really cool with it, so that was cool. But so the cool thing is that Monroe Pop Fest, if you get a chance to check it out, strongly encourage you to go look it up, go see what's going on. And we will have Jason and the rest of the Three Geeks, along with the FSF PopCast, will be there to help run panels. We're going to have discussions. There will be a couple of live shows that will be live streamed from the Monroe Pop Fest. Three Geeks is doing a live show. FSF PopCast is doing a live show. We're doing a one-off of our Star Wars RPG D&D style game. We're going to do from there. I believe Jason's going to be joining us from Three Geeks. Will be joining us in taking part of that game, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And we can't wait to get there and share that all with you guys.
I got one more plug. Everybody needs to watch Only Murders in the Building. And if you want to know how to use cussing in your television show, Nick Stockbridge, who hosts this show, also wrote a whole essay on my post. So you guys can go check that out, and it's fun.
All right. Very good. Is she still mad at Kathleen for the whole Funko incident? Well, let's just put it this way. You guys haven't been back to our house since. Anyway, no, just kidding.
Kathleen's like, what?
No.
I believe that Shayna understands that you are a grown man who should be able to make his own decisions and control his own spending.
You keep using that word grown man. I do not believe it means what you think it means.
Oh, no, I am quite sure what it means.
No, she's absolutely fine with it. That was money that I spent of my own volition. And I got in trouble for my own deeds.
Tim's almost done doing all the chores that he was punished with.
However, if he ever complains that he doesn't have money for a lightsaber, we just point to his Funkos.
I mean,
look at
the ones that aren't there.
Yeah, I mean, they're not here tonight, but, go look at any other episode and you'll find them all.
When you're no longer stuck in your government quarantine facility.
John's not wrong. We all know that Tim, he says, Kathleen, we all know that Tim and I stopped maturing around the age of 12. We need supervision.
Most geeks.
Exactly.
All right, well, this year I'm putting Honor in charge of you two. Have fun with that.
That's not fair. It's not fair.
That's fair. I mean, that
that little girl's way too smart for her own age, and she'll best us both. So
she will be the one suddenly with all of the Funkos, and they will have no money.
All right, so let's actually start talking about some of the topics that we have our guests here for.
Oh, goodness!
They're both being so patient and waiting for. So let's start off talking about the show. Now, both the shows that we're going to talk about tonight are easily found on Disney Plus. And we're very excited. I love Disney Plus. I'm so glad that streaming service is available. It's probably what I watch 90% of my shows on right now. Is all because Star Wars. Anyway, but But the first show I want to talk about is She-Hulk. And I have very much enjoyed this show. I am so glad it's on the air. So we'll start with you guys. What are your guys' initial thoughts, takeaways, all that kind of stuff?
Go ahead, Robert.
I just had fun with the show. Initially, like everything else, I started reading online and I'm like, okay, I wasn't too thrilled with the comments that I heard or the things that people are saying about the show. But then again, I stopped listening a while back. So then I started watching the show and you're like, what are they talking about? This is fun. This is an incredible, fun show. And not because it's necessarily Marvel, but I want more shows like this. The way, the style that they're doing the show. It's not your typical, it resembles, I don't know if you remember Ally McBeal.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that show.
Yeah.
It kind of has that feel to it, which is something that we don't have anymore in shows nowadays. And I mean, it's a plus. It's Marvel. It's an addition. But even if it's not Marvel, if it's just normal show, I would want to see more shows like this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the show's fantastic. I like the Ally McBeal reference because I didn't even think about that. But 100%, I can feel the influence, and Ally McBeal might be coming back. So fingers crossed, everybody. But I texted Tim halfway through the episode. I was like, Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers is in episode
Perfect Strangers,
2.
yeah.
Oh, I love that guy, and I love this show. The show reminds me, it's like a sitcom, but it's also like a lawyer/superhero. It's fantastic. The talking to the camera, the winks to the audience, the references, spoiler alert, to the Incredible Hulk film with Edward Norton is just all so good. I love this show, and I like it because Marvel can't make a proper Hulk movie because Universal still has the movie rights to it, but they're making one through the She-Hulk show, and that's something I'm really digging right now.
Yeah. I really appreciate the callback to the Louis Ferrigno show. Yeah, I don't know if you remember when she just got is it okay to do spoilers? Because I'm going to go into
it. We're past 48 hours on a weekly show. I say yes.
Oh, okay. So in the scene where she just got the blood and ran away, and when you see him turning into the Hulk, I was like, oh my God, this is like the show I used to watch, with Louis Ferrigno when he was transforming. And it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. There's callbacks to everything in here.
Yeah, they've done really well with that, I think. Travis Foley says, did anyone feel like last week's episode seemed like time for opening credits when the end credits started? Yes.
Yeah.
It was an amazing episode, I thought. I just thought the pacing of it was really good. I didn't feel like, a couple of the past series that have come out, the first 2 episodes, I really felt like Marvel kind of dragged it out in the first episode or 2. And I have not felt that way with She-Hulk. I thought there was nice pacing. I agree. I love the fourth wall breaks where her turning and talking to the camera and all that kind of stuff really does. And I hadn't honestly thought about the Ally McBeal stuff, but now that's all I can think about. Is that is very much that's an awesome reference, Robert. That is very well done, sir. But I have very much enjoyed it. I think part of the problem, though, out there, and I think this is probably what Robert was referring to, a lot of the people kind of have gotten their panties in a bunch because they're afraid that it's, they're trying to replace the Hulk with a, they're like, with a woman.
Oh, who cares? Like, Tatiana Maslany is the perfect person to play this role. Oh my God, I love her. Orphan Black.
She's
if
wonderful.
You haven't seen it, do yourself a favor.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful in this role. And, but what people don't, and the thing that's just floors me to all hell and back is most of the people who are saying this don't have any depth of knowledge when it comes to Marvel, and that there actually was a She-Hulk, and that, it's not just something that Marvel's throwing out there to do gender swaps and all these things that they are claiming are happening. There is a video I want to play, and it's a TikTok, one of my favorite TikTok creators. I'm going to see if this works. If this works, I will have figured out something. If not, we'll know.
The female thing comes up every time they introduce a female. Like when Black Widow came out, Captain
Agreed.
Marvel came out, and then
Yep.
they saw Jane Foster as Thor.
Mhm.
Everybody has to cry. Like, why? I don't understand why. I'd rather watch a female-led movie than a male-led movie.
Yeah, the thing is that you got a bunch of fragile guys out there who can't handle a woman in a strong role, and it's proven over and over again every time one of these shows comes out. And if a woman does anything that shows themselves standing up for themselves or empowering themselves in any way, ooh, boy, then that was part of the problem with Captain Marvel. The movie itself I thought Captain Marvel was a fantastic movie. I thought it was awesome for young girls to see that a woman could, go through all these things as a young woman does, to grow up to be something more. And I thought, especially having a daughter, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see if this TikTok works. Here we go. This is from a content creator on TikTok called Straw Hat Goofy. He's the movie guy on TikTok. He's my movie guy anyway. And I wholeheartedly support and love this view. So here it goes.
When I said fragile men were not going to like She-Hulk, it's funny how fragile men popped up to say they're not fragile, because if you weren't, you wouldn't have to defend yourself. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to nip this thing in the bud right now. You said that Jennifer stated that her life was harder than Bruce. Except that is not what happened. She didn't say that, and that's not what the scene is implying at all.
So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
Really struggling to find where people are getting her life is harder than Bruce's part. Because the honest to God truth is, as a new Hulk, Jennifer is better at controlling her anger than Bruce was when he first started being the Hulk. Why? It's because she had a lot of practice to do it. It only brings up the catcalling and mansplaining because those are things that happen to her every day, and that helped her hone her anger controlling skills. Bruce, on the other hand, was not good at controlling his anger when he first started as a Hulk because he had a lot of unresolved trauma from the abuse he had. So that whole Bruce's life was harder than Jen's argument, you misread it in the scene. You're projecting. And the crazy part is that you projected during a scene where Jennifer was talking about Bruce projecting onto her. Crazy. When I said...
Yeah. Tim's muted still. But yeah.
He's talking though.
I'm muted. Yeah, I was talking. So the thing I love about that scene is that's everything that I have wanted to say, and I couldn't find a way to put it into words. But that is exactly how I feel about people who have a problem with I can't. Jason, what's her name again?
Tatiana Maslany. You've seen Orphan Black, right, Tim?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, and I was not wanting to slaughter it online. Anyway, but yeah, she's and that's everybody's problem with her is that she said that she was had it worse than Bruce, or she was better at it than Bruce, and she just became a Hulk, and how could she be better at it? Because she can't.
And
she doesn't have the hurdles that Bruce had to get over.
That is such a it makes me angry. It makes me very, very angry. But that says so much about our society as a whole that if you think about it, men have anger issues because they're not taught how to deal with their feelings. At a young age, men are told, boys don't cry. You don't have feelings. You're not allowed to feel that way.
Right.
Whereas women are constantly being criticized and ridiculed with the, you're grumpy, you must be on your period. Oh, you're grumpy, you must be. It's like, no.
You should smile more.
Because you're in my face and telling me how to do my job that I have training to do. There's a big difference there. And like he says in that video, the fragile men who are not comfortable in themselves, not comfortable with their own feelings, being like, oh my gosh, they made... No, shut up, sit back, and figure it out yourself. Like, look into your own issues, not criticize a TV show for showing where you have a fault.
Right, like they said, the projecting into that scene, the projection of themselves into that scene.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good show too. Like
it is so good.
I've been waiting for Tatiana Maslany to get back in a TV show, and I think this is the perfect one for her.
The humor of the show to me is top notch.
Oh, and the fourth wall break. Great. I love fourth wall breaks. I have always loved fourth wall breaks, and so it's great.
The whole training scene where Bruce is trying to train her to be a Hulk, and doing the rock throw and the hand claps, and and all that stuff, and then he throws her off the edge and she flips him off. I about spit my drink on that.
Mhm.
I was not expecting that. I thought that was hilarious. The cut scene of them two at the bar about Captain America,
Oh my gosh,
roared with laughter.
that was fantastic.
Best end credit scene too of any of the Marvel projects was the end credit scene for the first episode.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's so much going right for this show so far. We're only a couple episodes in, but there's so much going right for this show that I'm excited to see where this goes. Not just for what they're doing in the series, but what they can do with the Jennifer Walters She-Hulk character outside of the series in Phase 5 and 6, and if there's some other ways that she can be, brought into other parts of the MCU.
And
I love how. Sorry, go ahead, Kathleen.
I have to say, I wasn't even like when they announced the show, I was not excited about it. It was not a moment where I'm like, oh, I love that character. I wanna see them on screen. It was okay, well.
I have to agree with you. I'm not 100% like really into the comics. I read a couple, so I know the comics for She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really like very knowledgeable like any other Marvels that I have read comics after comics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with Kathleen. I was not sure what to expect. I definitely was not excited when they announced it. And then when I watched the first episode, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It piqued my curiosity, and then once the casting was done, I was 100% in on the show. But one thing I like about Marvel in general, they did it with Shang-Chi when they brought dude back from Iron Man 3. I can't believe I'm blanking, Trevor. And in this one, like bringing Abomination back, like they're really good about pulling stuff from their canon and bringing it back at the right particular moment and doing something special with it. What do you guys think about Abomination trying to go down the path of like turning his life around? Or do you think it's fake?
I think it was kind of slightly funny to me because throughout the entire episode, I kept on thinking, and it turns out towards the end that, yeah, in fact, what he's saying was true.
Mm-hmm.
And he already communicated with Bruce. And he's like,
he wrote me a nice haiku.
Very harm.
I love that guy.
That's another area where I laughed out loud. She's calling Bruce and talking with Bruce to make sure that Bruce is okay with her taking the cake. She's like, "Oh yeah, you should. I'm past it. He wrote me a nice haiku." I'm like, "Oh man."
Between that and when he's talking to her and telling her, when Abomination's telling her that it was the super soldier serum that did that to him, and she's like, "Wait, it was the government's fault that you became this way." I'm like, "Oh, it is going down, and it's going to be glorious."
I had to explain that to my wife because, in fact, I have to agree. I mean, if you watch that movie, which many people, most of my friends don't like it. I still kind of like it. You remember what happened, and in a way, I like to think that it's not his fault. But then that's just my personal opinion,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget that the 2008 film that he was in, that Tim Roth was in as Abomination, is Marvel canon. Mm-hmm. And that movie still very much applies to everything that's going on.
Yeah, so, this show definitely reminded. Do you guys think Betty Ross will ever come back?
Well, I don't know if they ever will bring her back or not, but yeah.
But that moment with Abomination and Jennifer with this was the government's fault, the government did this to you, was very boys-esque to me, with you realizing that the government's behind all of this and that they're making these super soldiers, and sometimes their super soldiers go wrong, and then it's the government says that it's their fault, not the government's fault, because the government never admits that it's their fault. But I think what we're gonna
I think one of the things that you will see come from this is that with Abomination doing an about face and being a pseudo good guy, is that it's going to be the tie-in for the Thunderbolts movie, which is basically Marvel's Suicide Squad,
right?
And so I think, what's that?
That's the one thing I think besides the multiverse that they've consistently been setting up, which is the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, so I think that Abomination will be part of that moving forward. But I always liked Tim Roth as an actor, and I think that he plays, the human portion of Abomination pretty well. So
you said Thunderbolt, and I heard Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds go!
I love that.
So, but yeah, we're very excited about. At least I know that I am. I know that Kathleen is. I think Nick's kind of indifferent to it, but I could be wrong. He can tell me right or wrong later. But I think that he's just kind of like meh. But the one thing I was excited about for this show, because like I think like all of us here, I didn't have a whole lot of exposure to She-Hulk growing up. I knew the comics were there. I really didn't read the comics. My greatest amount of exposure to She-Hulk was knowing that she was a video game character in a couple different Marvel video games, and I got to use her and as a playable character and kind of figure out a little bit of her background, her backstory from that. But that's really the depth of my level of knowledge before this show. But enough to know that she was, there was a She-Hulk and that there was a connection to Bruce Banner and all that kind of stuff. So
I guess there was a Wolverine reference in this episode, but I did not see it. And I'm with you, Tim, but only my knowledge of the entire MCU so far. I didn't know much about any of these characters because I was always a DC or an X-Men guy. So to me, the MCU is almost perfect because I have no preconceived notions at all.
See, right. And that's the thing, too, for me, is I didn't have a lot of comic book experience. I was aware of these characters because of marketing, but there is that part of me that kind of always, I don't want to say that I didn't like the female characters, but especially when it was we have female Hawkeye and we have female Hulk. It's kind of that in a way it always felt like, oh, well, I'm not good enough for the regular version. You have to make a girl version for me. That I struggled with that. So I kind of had that mindset going into She-Hulk with I'm not so sure I'm going to like this because I like Hulk. There's no reason I can't like Hulk. But then I see She-Hulk and I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is okay. Never mind.
Yeah. I think sometimes the characters were done, I think, like you said, just to kind of make people feel included. There was to placate one crowd over another. Mm-hmm. In the past, but I don't think that that's what Marvel's doing here. I think that they have this open sandbox to play with, and they're getting more of their characters back. And I think they're just trying to get them out there and for people to be able to see the characters and see how they're being developed and stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that that's what's going on.
And I know that my chip on my shoulder is legitimately just a reaction from playing X-Men as a kid with I want to be Wolverine. Well, you can't be Wolverine because you're a girl. It's like, no, that's not how that works. So I struggled with that a little bit anytime there's the female character because I didn't want to be Storm. I didn't want to be Rogue. I wanted to be Wolverine because Wolverine claws are really cool. But I'm not bitter.
Lady Deathstrike. You could have been Lady Deathstrike. Just saying, just throwing that out there. Mm-hmm. She was cool. She was actually very dangerous. Mm-hmm. So
I'm not still bitter.
All right. But new episodes of She-Hulk come out every Thursday on Disney Plus. You can catch it first thing in the morning before you go do anything else. That is sadly adulting.
Yeah, there was two news headlines in the background of this episode. One was man fights with metal claws and bar brawl, and then the other one was why is there a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean?
Yeah, that was for the Eternals. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
there's always so many little things inside. Yeah. Like for example, I scanned that QR code on the bathroom, and it opened up.
Did you get the comic book?
Yeah, I'm like, and Marvel always does these things, and it's so clever and so cool.
See, I feel like there's almost too many. Oh,
Yes, I love X23.
Logan. X23 exists now.
That's true.
So
there
is a female Wolverine.
2000, they didn't. She didn't.
Well, this is true. But she does now. So
yeah, multiverse.
All right. So let's move on to our second topic. Our second topic is another show on Disney Plus that Kathleen and I have had the opportunity to know about for a little over a year now before it actually came to the air. We had Dan Povenmire, the creator of Phineas and Ferb and Milo Murphy's Law, on our show, and we talked with him about those shows, what he had been doing, and everything else, and what was upcoming. And he gave us a little bit of a hint about Hamster and Gretel, just that it was in development. He really couldn't say much more about it at that point, but that it was definitely in the works and that it was coming. And then we had Amber Tornquist Hollinger on our show, who's one of the directors for Hamster and Gretel. And she talked about that show. But again, because of NDAs and timing and all those things, there's only so much she could say. And then we've had Joshua Pruett, one of the head writers for Phineas and Ferb, Milo Murphy's Law, and now Hamster and Gretel on our show, not once, but twice. And each time we have talked about Hamster and Gretel. But again, because of NDAs and timing and all those things, there was only so much we could say. But now it's out, and we get to watch it.
Now they can't stop us.
Now they can't stop us, and we get to talk about it, and we're so excited. Originally, Josh Pruett was going to try and be on with us tonight, but his schedule was going to prevent him from making it tonight. So we're going to try and get him on for another live show here soon, and we'll talk a little bit more Hamster and Gretel at that time. But he had some adulting things he had to take care of, so clearly we can't fault him for that. But yeah, so Hamster and Gretel. I know that I know you guys have each seen a little bit of it. What are your first thoughts going into the show?
I am going to say a sentence. It is superhero chicken soup.
It's good for yourself.
I liked it. I really liked it. It's really fun. It's really funny. I love Ropa Vieja. If you haven't had it, you should have it. It's amazing. But the show it's really cool. I really liked it, and it's very, this is one of the things that my co-host on my show kind of make slightly fun of me, because I like the happy endings. Mm-hmm. I have shows that don't really have a villain, which is very hard to do, by the way. And although we have villains, it's very vanilla. At least the parts that I have seen. I don't know if you guys probably seen a lot more than I have, but so far that's my impression. And it's my kind of show. Yeah,
it's funny. I enjoy it. Jay, what are your first thoughts?
I don't watch a lot of animated stuff, like in general. It's just, for some reason, I just don't. I nothing against it, but I like the show. I think if I had kids, I'd probably definitely, like younger kids, I'd definitely be binging this with them. But I can't wait to check this out with like my niece, or when my friend's son comes over once a month and hangs out with me. So him and I will definitely be watching this show together, because he's gonna love it. And the line, like, my friend has this, my friend has this, my friend has this. Can you sign her shirt?
My friend's name is Gretel.
Yeah.
I think that's actually one of the things that I really appreciate about Dan Povenmire's creations is that you don't have to have little kids to enjoy this. You don't have to have a child as a reason to watch it. There were so many jokes in it that John and I are laughing at that go right over Anara's head. She's excited about the bright colors and the fact that the hamster can talk and the hamster can fly. Having a hamster of her own, it was a very cool tie-in for her with the, hey, this little girl can do anything, and she has a hamster just like me. But then you have the jokes that are more to make it entertaining for the parents, with when Gretel asks their cousin Fred, well, what's wrong with Kevin? I don't know, puberty. It's like, yes, 100% yes. That is
what the smell?
The answer.
What is the burning smell?
Right? Sometimes that happens. I know. I love that. But the episode with Rodney Thunderpants is still my absolute favorite, with your name is Rodney, you shoot lightning out of your hands, and you didn't think to call yourself Lightning Rod? I'm like, I paused it because I was laughing so hard and I didn't want to miss anything else. And then he's like, oh man, but I already had the business cards printed. I'm like, what supervillain makes business cards?
Right.
This show, it reminded me a lot of Kid Danger. I I don't know
yeah.
if you've ever seen that, Kathleen.
Yeah.
My daughter made me watch all of it.
Oh my gosh, it's fun though.
It is definitely a guilty pleasure. I enjoyed the show. Did remind me of that for sure.
As a pretty hardcore Phineas and Ferb fan, this was great for me. Like the first 5 episodes, I legitimately have watched at least 3 times.
They're just fun.
Because they're just that good. And it might be vanilla, but there's so many things you can mix into vanilla ice cream to make it so much better.
Oh yes.
And it is that perfect. Sometimes it feels like it's a float. Sometimes it's a sundae. Sometimes it's whatever. You've got vanilla ice cream next to a piece of pie. It's beautiful and perfect, and I want more ice cream now. Sorry.
Ice cream does sound wonderful.
Yeah,
but one of the things that I've loved the most is just the running. It's a running gag, and one of the things I love about Dan's shows is that there's always a little bit of a running gag somewhere somehow. Phineas and Ferb had running gags with Perry. Hey, where's Perry? All that kind of thing. And in this show, the thing that I love is that anytime she's going to punch something, no matter what it is, she yells out what she's going to do. Wall punch. Pipe punch, meteor punch, math punch, whatever it is. And I absolutely love that. It makes me laugh every single time. And it's the silly little humor that's in the show to me that makes it a lot more fun. Plus, it's superheroes for kids. That's it's good, clean family fun with superheroes for kids. And Kathleen, please do not buy your hamster a cape, because I don't want Honor to think that flying.
Chewie does sell guinea pig costumes, but I think he's too small for guinea pig costumes. I haven't looked at this. I was actually looking at getting him a sombrero.
Nice.
And honestly, Hamster dancing in the Ropa Vieja episode with the chili skirt.
Yes.
I can't. I just can't.
I was all in. But we have to speak about his bright personality. Very sunshine, and rainbows.
Mm-hmm. And poor Kevin. But in all of the crap that has happened to this poor 16-year-old boy, and I can only imagine being a 16-year-old boy is like the worst thing ever, because boys are gross and smelly and disgusting. But then you get a driver's license and now you have to drive your parents' minivan with your little sister in it. Like that is not cool. That is not how you pick up chicks at 16. And
no,
then you throw
that's the way to do it.
You throw his social anxiety on top of it, but now he's responsible for his little sister who's a superhero. So she gets all of the attention. She's in the public eye. He's trying to make sure she doesn't die. And yet somehow he always ends up wet. Why is Kevin always wet?
What's up with that alien? That alien did him wrong.
I know. But then coming and giving the superhero the twins evil powers, it's like, what is going on with this alien? And yes, my brothers could, but it was a station wagon. We didn't have a minivan. We had a station wagon, then we had a full-size van. So yeah, there's that. But I also, as stupid as it is, I love that the supervillains, that the boy's name is Lyle, because that's my dad's name, and my dad was a huge Phineas and Ferb fan. Like, he loved watching it when I'd watch it with the kids that I babysat. So to have my dad's name in this cartoon, even though it's completely coincidental, it is so funny to me, because I'm like, he would have loved that there's a character with the same name as him in a Dan Povenmire show. Like, that would have been huge to my dad. And it also cracks me up that he's the supervillain. But I don't know. The evil twins are just fun. I don't know. I could keep going. Good grief. I could keep going, and I really have, since, I did an entire 5 at 5 on why this show is amazing and it should be watched.
I was just going to bring that up, that on on our YouTube channel if you want more information from Kathleen about why you should be watching Hamster and Gretel. There's our Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. We always release a 5 at 5. 5 reasons to watch something, 5 reasons to listen to something, 5 reasons to play this game, whatever it may be for that week. But last Wednesday, Kathleen released 5 at 5 for Hamster and Gretel, the top 5 reasons why you should be watching Hamster and Gretel. So that's, I think actually it clocked in right just over at 5 minutes, like 5 minutes and 7 seconds. So it snaps along pretty quick. It's an easy watch, and it gives you 5 reasons why you should be checking this show out on Disney Plus.
It also has 95 views already.
Yeah, it's climbing up there. It's got a nice little click going. So, but yeah, so check that out. Any other thoughts about Hamster and Gretel before we move along?
I want more episodes.
Fair enough.
Like so badly.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this show. I very much enjoyed the first the episodes that have been released on Disney Plus. I thought they've been very Dan Povenmire, very enjoyable, very much in the vein of other things that I've watched from Amber and other things that I've seen that Josh has written. Mm-hmm. So it's been a lot of fun for that to have the knowledge of what we had in the background coming forward, and then actually to see it get produced. As exciting as it has been for us on the outside watching it, I can only imagine what it's been like for them being part of the show, and developing the show and everything else. So, all right. So there's one more thing that we threw in at last minute. We didn't tell you guys about this, but we want to talk about it for a couple minutes, and I want to see if you guys have had a chance to watch this at all, and if you have any thoughts about this moving forward. Have you guys seen the trailer for Weird Al?
Yes.
I haven't watched the trailer. I've pretty much become a avoid trailers guy, but I want to see it. Daniel Radcliffe looks just like him.
He does. And then they have
I
Weird
have so
Al.
many questions about this trailer.
They have Weird Al in the movie as the producer.
Yeah.
Talking to himself, which I mean just makes sense because it's Weird Al. But then Rainn Wilson and
as Dr. Demento, yeah.
I love it.
It'd be weird. That's what I want.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, totally. Anything with an accordion in it, for sure. But
I believe that.
No, I saw the trailer today and I about split. I love Weird Al. I have always loved Weird Al. And then to see there's so many layers.
I have so many questions.
Oh yeah,
so many questions.
Sure.
I Robert, before I get into my things that I have questions about, what were your thoughts about the trailer?
I don't know what to expect. I want to see. I want to see what's gonna happen, but it's interesting.
I have questions about the whole Madonna.
Oh, I know. And
apparently Weird Al and Madonna were more than just business associates, according to the movie trailer.
But at the same time,
all right, Weird Al.
At the same time, this is Weird Al, who is known for parodying things. So is he making a parody biopic about himself?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because in another scene, the guy's like talking to Weird Al and he says, "You can't smoke in here." And Weird Al apparently put out a cigarette on the guy's hand.
I know.
And there's a whole other scene with him. There's multiple scenes in the trailer. It's like a 3-minute trailer of multiple scenes about him, with Madonna. And there's a pretty strong makeout scene in the trailer where he's making out with Madonna. And I'm like, okay, didn't see that one happening.
They are referring to it as the parody artist's parody biopic.
Oh my God, they got Evan Rachel Wood to play Madonna.
Yes.
Oh my God, that adds a level of respect to this project. Daniel Radcliffe is fine, but getting her, she's one of the best actresses on TV right now. Regardless of what you think of Westworld.
Right.
The casting in this movie looks to be top notch. Not only get Daniel Radcliffe, they got Rainn Wilson, they got Evan Rachel Wood, they've got I can't remember who some of the other people were in the casting list. I'd have to go back and look at the cast list again. But just even those couple people, you're like, holy crap! It adds so much credibility to the movie coming forward. The fact that Weird Al is involved with it, and it's not just a biopic being made about somebody that it's not anything to do with. You know what I mean?
Right. So there's this article on Polygon about it. This paragraph got me with Weird Al. The Weird's trailer runs through some of the typical touchstones you might expect in a musician's biopic and puts them through the fittingly silly Weird Al filter. There are scenes from Al's childhood where his parents worry about his polka obsession, a sequence where he amazes his friends with his improvised rendition of My Bologna, but whatever. His descent into strife and ruin thanks to Madonna. There's even the presence of a suspicious older promoter, Dr. Demento, so Rainn Wilson, who wants to use Al to help him hit it big. All of this is played up to the ridiculous degree you'd expect from a movie about a man who made his name writing parody songs. But it's how many levels of parody are there in this movie?
Right. And so now my question is, how much of this movie is going to be parody? How much of this movie is going to be factual? And will there be an easily decipherable line? Because, like in the movie trailer, he's sitting there at his table with his parents, and his parents are telling him how they just want him to stop being himself and be a normal kid.
Stop being happy.
Right. Stop being happy, be a normal kid. And then there's another scene where like he's at a party and, he's jamming on an accordion with, everybody around him, and he comes home with the police. Well, we found him at a polka party. There's things in this trailer where I'm like, okay, this is very clearly, parody, and it's very clearly Weird Al. And then like, he's not just like talking with Madonna. He's shirtlessly making out with Madonna, It's some of it's over the top, and some of it's very funny, and I have so many questions.
I think you won't know what's parody and what's not. I think they're going to purposely do it that way.
And they're billing it as an untold true story. But it's also Weird Al telling you the story. So, I mean, come on, the guy wrote an entire song about Albuquerque. Like, you can't expect to take anything he ever says seriously.
Greatest ball of twine in Minnesota. Anyway, but yeah, there's a whole lot of questions, and that will get answered on November 4th on the Roku channel. That's where that show is going to be streaming. So if you have a Roku, you're all set. If you don't have a Roku, they're really cheap at Walmart. Go get one, set it up, even if it's just for that. It's worth the price of the movie ticket. Best line. Okay, I deserve that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch the trailer.
You need to watch the trailer. You have to watch the trailer. There's so much going on in this. It's just like, I sat there. I watched it twice today, and each time I caught little things. The second time I caught little things I didn't catch the first time, and I went, "Oh, okay." It's not Will Arnett. It's the other Will. I can't think of his name, but that's the one who says that okay, I deserve that. Got the hand burn. Yeah, goodness gracious, I can't think of his name.
Oh my God, Thomas Lennon is in this too.
What's that?
I said Thomas Lennon is in this too. I love that guy.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of good people in this movie.
Somebody playing Coolio.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's Weird Al cast, because now this is going to drive me insane if I don't have an answer to
Forte
this.
is what they said in the comments.
Will Forte, that's it. Thank you.
I love Will Forte too.
Yeah, Will Forte. Thank you, Travis. I was losing my mind here. I'm like, I know it's not Will Arnett, and I can't remember his last name. So I was about to complete the Googs and figure it out. But so November 4th on the Roku channel. If you don't have one, go buy one for cheap at your local Walmart or Amazon. You get one from Amazon. It'll be about the same. So
probably
anyway,
sale as well. You're gonna be that cheap.
Exactly. Yeah. So. All right, guys. As we get ready to wrap up here, I just want to remind you that last Friday, our guest on the show was just an awesome actress who actually won the Best Actress Award for her role in the drama Burning Kentucky. and she has roles in a couple different horror movies, including one called Amityville Moon. It was a werewolf movie, and a soon-to-be-released sci-fi thriller called Down and Talk with Augie Duke. And here's a little preview.
Hello, this is Augie Duke, and you are listening to the FSF Podcast.
All right. Well, that episode is still up on our YouTube channel and on your favorite audio podcast providers. That is really hard to say. Anyway, and remember that your subscription to our YouTube channel is a major help. So please don't forget to click like and subscribe as you watch the video. However, this week we have a new episode coming out on Friday like we do every Friday. Our guest this Friday is a very talented droid maker and actor, and one of only a couple of people to ever wear the C-3PO costume in Star Wars media.
This is Chris Bartlett from The Mandalorian, and this is the FSF PopCast.
So yeah, it's Friday.
Daniel's information from that guy.
Okay. We're very excited to welcome Chris Bartlett from shows like The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Now, in all the movies, Anthony Daniels is C-3PO, hands down. That's who that is. But on television shows, commercials, personal appearances, that's the guy right there. Chris Bartlett portrays C-3PO. Not only does he wear the costume, he also does the voice, which was also very cool. When we were talking to him, he'd go in and out of C-3PO's voice and use that a couple different times. So we got to talk with Chris about his love for cosplay, because that's how he got started. He was a cosplayer, and he would go out and he'd build these droids and the droid wear and all that stuff. And somebody at Disney heard about his level of cosplay and the how screen accurate it was, and that's how he got hired. That's how he got into the business. And so it's a really cool story of a cosplayer doing this for just the love of cosplaying. After work, he'd go out after dinner at night and go out and work in the garage and tinker for a couple hours and work on his suit. And now he works for Disney doing this. He's played multiple droids on the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian and some other different things. And he has a fantastic story about going to the White House during the Obama years and ending up on the elevator with President Obama as C-3PO. It's fantastic. It's a great story. Anyway, you'll have to check it out. Yeah, you'll have to check it out this Friday.
It's awesome.
So be sure to tune in this Friday morning. You watch it on YouTube, or of course you can listen to it on your favorite audio podcast provider as well.
But watching is more fun because you get to see Tim giggle like a little schoolgirl. You can do get to watch me giggling, not just hear it.
It's Star Wars. I can't help it. It happens. But before we go, guys, please take a moment to remind everybody about your shows, where you're at, what you do, where they can find you. Jason, we'll start with you.
Everybody, you guys can find me every week on FSF at 7:00 with Tim, Kathleen, and Nick. Just listen to the live show. It's fantastic. I don't need to plug myself. Hit that like button. Even Larry Hankin hit that like button. So you can hit that like button too. Actually, I have access to Larry Hankin's email.
I was going to say, or whoever has access to Larry Hankin.
But still, yeah. Hit that like button.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Jason. Check out 3 Geeks Podcast. You guys won't be disappointed. And also Matt Talk and the PVD Cast. Those are all shows that are associated with the 3 Geeks Podcast as well. All very worthwhile.
Good editing. PVD Cast is where to go. John is like a professional. Even Matt Talk is edited so well. Max is like, what's wrong with our podcast? And I'm like, we don't have a John to edit our show.
Right.
You guys have a John too. I think everybody needs a John to edit their shows.
It does help. When Focused on Forward was on the air and it was edited by a Tim, it was not at the same level. And then it started getting edited by a John, and it got much better. And all of a sudden, like, wow, that was nice, crisp transitions, and it was clean and easy to listen to. It was a John.
I'm going to plug the PVD Cast because you guys can listen to one of the best podcasters, not just female podcasters ever. Kathleen was on the PVD Cast with John, and
yes, she was. It was a great interview.
Kathleen's only been doing this for like a year and a half, everybody. Like, it's incredible to me. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been good for like 2.
I just like to talk to people, and I'm good at talking, and that's about all I got going.
Play to your strengths.
Right?
All right, Robert, tell us about SciFi Remnant.
Well, if you like the geeky conversations, SciFi Remnant, you can find us anywhere you've. We started doing the videos on YouTube as well, so we don't have as many followers, but usually we post the videos a month after the audio comes out, because the audio is our main thing. But yeah, you can find us now everywhere, podcast and YouTube.
Excellent. Yeah, and again, I encourage you guys to go check out SciFi Remnant. They may go some deep on some topics, but they're not going to leave you behind. It's a great show, and just make sure you listen to it. They did a really nice episode a few weeks back about the movie Galaxy Quest. Had some bunch of nerds on with them. But you'll want to check that out.
Oh my God!
Yeah, those
Lower Decks is back. Robert, I'm on your Twitter page right now. I didn't know Lower Decks was back. Oh my God!
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
You just made my week. That one little tweet.
When I told my wife, she was jumping up and down, because we sit down and watch that show together.
SciFi Remnant makes dreams come true. Just go to their Twitter page.
There you go. There's your tagline, Robert. There you go.
All right. Don't forget, guys, we will be at the Monroe Pops Fest September 16th and 17th. 15th, 16th.
Correct.
Something like
September
that.
September 16th and 17th. So this Friday, we've got an interview, and I'm just going to go ahead and plug this now. We've got the interview with Chris Bartlett from The Mandalorian. Next week, Friday, on the 9th of September, we will be releasing an interview with Olivia Diabo, who is actually going to be at Monroe Pop Fest as well. We're going to talk to her about that, her time on Star Wars Clone Wars. She was on The Wonder Years for the longest time as Karen Arnold. So you guys are going to want to check that out. It's a really cool interview with Olivia, and you'll have an opportunity to meet her in person and get something signed as well. So
you can even meet the FSF PopCast and get things signed. Not that it'll be worth anything, but we'll sign things for you. That could be fun.
Sure. Yeah.
As long as
you can also get stuff signed by 3 Geeks as well.
As long as it's not legal documents or I know mostly legal documents. We're not going to sign those.
Have you guys signed an autograph yet? We did once, and it was so surreal. Somebody asked us to sign a Watchmen comic book because we talked about Watchmen in our panel.
No.
Like 7 years ago, and we still weren't good.
No, I still get out when I'm walking through the mall and somebody's like, I just saw your picture on my YouTube page. I'm like, whoa, didn't do it.
I actually haven't had either of those things happen to me yet. Now I'm jealous. All right. But yeah, so check that out this Friday, and next Monday we will not have a live show. We will have a replay for you guys. We're taking the week off, and
our replay
the week after that
also a Pop Fest guest, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Next week's replay will be an interview that we did with Darren McCarty, who will also be at Monroe Pop Fest. So you guys can check that out. Darren McCarty, former Red Wing great. So, all right, I think that's going to conclude us for the FSF PopCast Live Edition. Robert, Jason, thank you for coming by, hanging out with us, spending some time with us. And
thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a blast.
Oh, thank you. And we will see everybody else later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the contact link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.